You're muted.
All right. I guess nobody heard the intro then. So, welcome to Maumee Valley Wish Society Live. We've got a fun night lined up. We've got Chris with us tonight. We have Tom.
Hello.
And we have Will.
Cheers.
Okay, so tonight is really fun. Most of you hopefully should know that just this past Saturday, we were down in Columbus for a barrel pick at Watershed Distillery. That was a really good time. I really like it down there. Them and Middle West are probably my two favorite distilleries down in Columbus. And I think we picked a pretty good barrel. So tonight we're going to be tasting through that together. This was the panel that was down there for the pick. And we were going to describe it, tell you guys what you have to look forward to, kind of talk about release schedules, open up comments for questions of other things going on in the Whiskey Society right now, what we can look forward to coming up in the summer, and when you can expect these barrels to start arriving. So, how you doing, guys?
Good.
Doing pretty well.
Great. Awesome. Yeah, we got someone in the comment there. You're muted. Yep, thanks. Got that. Sorry about that. So first off, I want to talk about the experience down at Middle West. So,
you mean Watershed?
We were down. Oh yeah, Watershed.
Oh man,
I just talked about Middle West. Oh man. So we were down at Watershed. Wes was down there. I think he's like their creative marketer, kind of outreach, kind of face of the company kind of guy. We met him a few visits there ago. Did a special tour for us, which was really awesome. Helped us get in contact down there to set up the barrel pick. And he did a great job. The barrel pick went awesome. They had dinner reservations for us afterwards. It was a really fun time. So there's their still set up. They've got kind of a hybrid setup, copper pot still that feeds into the column stills. This is not the one they do their bourbon on. This is mainly what they do like their gin and vodka and stuff on, but it's a pretty cool setup. And then, so we were at the tasting table. So this was their lounge when we first arrived. Really nice setup down there if you're doing a pick. There's the flight. We had 4 barrels to choose from. When we're sitting at the table here, kind of discussing the picks and the one we ended up going with, I think, Will, you had mentioned it reminded you of sitting on grandma's porch eating cookies. Tell us about that one.
So my immediate, my connection was my great-grandmother had a very specific recipe for an oatmeal raisin cookie that was just fantastically spiced and had both red raisins and golden raisins. And just the sweet up front with the spice through the middle, and then just the beautifully fruited finish that just kept going and going and going. Definitely this of the 4, I don't think there's anyone here that's going to disagree. It was the one that the finish just never stopped.
Oh yeah, and we can definitely get into that. And then when I was tasting it, I was getting actually a lot of like peaches mixed between like mid palate of like actual fruit peaches and then like the peach candy rings. And I got flashbacks to road trips as a kid with my family and like stopping at Cracker Barrel and going through the store and getting like the peach ring candies. And I mentioned to Will, it was like nostalgia. So that's where we were talking about it, and this kind of turned into the nostalgia or the nostalgic pick is kind of where that came from. So, and then we went through the warehouse and found our barrel. That's our barrel right there. We all signed it, got a picture with it, and they're going to be sending it up to us. So it was a really, really good time. It was a nice pick. Let me get back over to where I can get that off screen. There we go. We're all back now. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and kind of just smell and taste through this. As we're doing that, just whenever you guys want to call out what really stood out with this whiskey versus the other 4 that we tried, and kind of let everybody know where we were thinking when we were tasting through these. And then for everybody watching, we got a few people watching. That's awesome. Thanks. Leave a comment, ask some questions about the pick, the experience. If anybody's watching and you haven't been on a pick with us yet, and you're in one of our top couple of tiers, I know we had some people that couldn't make this one and dropped out. I highly encourage you to try and make the time for one of these picks because it's just such a fun experience. So what do you guys think?
For each individual, it's super fun.
When I went on my first one, I'm like, wow, this is a bucket list experience. And now, what, 3, 4?
Mm-hmm. Man, the first thing that stood out with me for this one, and this was number 1 in the lineup. We got Facebook user. Sorry you missed. Let us know in the chat because we're going through StreamYard here. Let us know who that is. Facebook user. Sorry I missed in the chat so we can give you a call out. This was the first in the lineup of the 4, and just right away I thought, man, the other whiskeys are going to have a tough time living up to this one, and that was true. Oh, it was Kevin. Hey, Kevin. Yeah, sorry we missed you down there. Man, it was super fun experience. That's too bad that you missed that. I hope everything was okay. And, we got my brother-in-law, Jake, watching along. Hey, Jake, how's it going, buddy? Hope you enjoy us watching us taste through this sample and talk about the barrel pick we just went on. Tom, what did you think? What stood out about this pick for you?
Immediately, I just got all those spices. Just there's so much like cinnamon, baking spice, but I did definitely had those raisins. Was my first, thing that I picked out was like that raisiness, spiciness, which was so nice about it. And that finish just never ends. And then when we were going back through, and you mentioned those peach rings, I still now pick that up every time, which is not a bad thing at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm still getting. Even after the fact, right? So if anybody's ever been on a barrel pick before, there's a lot that goes in influencing your tasting on a pick. Just like if you're out at a restaurant or a bar, if you're out with friends, or if you're home having a pour, a lot of things influence how you perceive a whiskey, how you taste it. And so you never know, really, coming back to a pick after you've done a barrel pick, you come back to the sample maybe a couple days later, or even when you get the bottles, is it going to taste the same? Are you going to have that same experience? And at least for this one, I'm having the same experience.
Yeah, I definitely have the peach on the palate. It's got a good mouthfeel, and it does that finish and that spice. It's just hanging out, which is great.
Yeah. So the one we ended up selecting was barrel 18-0497. So it is 4 years and 112 days old. It's 117 proof. So what's interesting about this one is this was the youngest and the lowest proof of the 4. It was the lowest proof by 10 proof points of the other 3. And what was interesting was, like Tom mentioned, the finish. I thought right away the finish on this one. I mean, I was sitting there, we're sampling it, and I'm watching the seconds tick by on my watch, and I'm like, all right, we're like over 2 minutes. This finish is still going. And it by far, I think, blew away the rest of them. What do you think, Chris?
Oh, no, I agree 100%. I was just thinking that, like, for being 10 proof points lower, the finish lingered much, much longer than the other 3.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You wouldn't have guessed that it was like 10 points. I wouldn't have.
Never.
You comparing them, I would not have said that would have been your lowest proof.
No, and none of them drank. So this was 117, and the rest of them were right around that like 126, 127 mark. And I don't think any of them drank hot. I mean, all of them drank pretty well balanced, which was really impressive to me because the first time I tried Watershed's product was when their stuff was around 2 to 3 years old. And it wasn't great. It was good. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. It still had a lot of like sharp, rough edges that young whiskey has. And I've heard that from some people. So if you're watching this and you are concerned about a Watershed pick, because maybe one you've had in the past was a little sharp, a little rough around the edges, the extra couple of years since then has really, really developed these and mature whiskeys in those barrels. So you can see behind Will, he's got his back screen set up. That is their warehouse. That's where we're at. Where we're looking at our barrel. That's typically how they store theirs now. But this is fantastic whiskey. I was really happy with the pick. We wouldn't pick one. I'm always worried because I don't want to pick a bourbon for the group that I don't think is worthy of having our logo on it. And so you never want to get somewhere and be like, you know what? None of these are for us. None of these for us. But we didn't have to do that. We had some good ones to pick from. And this has a lot of like dark stone fruit, a lot of some of that like raisin notes. I'm getting a lot of peaches, both candy sweet peaches and like fresh juicy peaches. And that's with some spices on them. Yeah, like holiday spices. And then that finish that is just carrying on and on and on. So I know the last few picks we've done have been really kind of like in the candy bar, dark caramel, vanilla, chocolate, dark roast kind of flavor profile. This one has some darker elements kind of grounding it. Right, like some darker stone fruits, but it has more fruit to it and much longer finish. So if that is right up your alley, this is going to be a great pick for you. So we've got a question here from Kevin. Is this one going to Pawkins? Yeah, so that's a great question, Kevin. So this is an Ohio distillery. We are using OHLQ as our distributor. So once they are ready to bottle these, they're going to send them up with the barrel to Pawkins. And then all of our members will have an opportunity to go to Pawkins to purchase those. So those will be announced to you by tiers, just like normal of when you can go pick those up. And there will be no limit on these as well. So, and the turnaround time, we're talking with OHLQ and with Watershed, we were looking at like 4 to 5 weeks. So we might actually get these before we get the Starlight pick, which will be interesting. But yeah, so if this is 4 to 5 weeks, this will drop around the second to last week of May-ish, maybe last week of May. And then we'll be looking at mid-June for Starlight to drop. Last time we talked to Jay at Shared Force. So another great one that we can't wait to get out to you guys. But that was a good question. So
to expand on that a little bit, like so when it releases to the tiers at Pawkins, it's like how long like is it going to be given out in the time increments that you would have to get over there and grab one? Like
yeah, so I haven't talked to Brad about all of those details. Brad owns Pawkins over there. I haven't talked about all those details. That'll probably be the way we'll work it out is probably a day as far as the announcements go out. So we'll announce like the first 2 tiers. They'll have a day to get over there, and then the full members, and then the social members, and then it will be open to everybody. So again, we don't want them sitting over there. It's a little different because you can't just buy it online. You're actually going to have to go over to Pawkins and pick it up. So we've got to give you a little bit of time for that. But probably a day makes sense to me. Because again, we don't want those just sitting over there, taking up the space. Yeah.
So people can, then we're also not overloading his store with people all day and things. So.
Right.
Speaking of which, what happens if this doesn't all go? Is it just open to the public then?
Yeah. So if we get through all of our like public members and there's still a couple cases there, then they'll put that out as like a regular special release single barrel.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Have our logo on it. Maybe get it out.
Yeah. There. Yeah. Like that's where my mind's going. Is I would almost rather it not sell out in this circumstance, honestly.
Yeah, I still want to try and do the best we can. This will be our first time doing this type of release, but I want to do the best I can to still kind of get the tier, because I don't want one of our top tier members to miss out on a bottle if they can't, get over there like the minute it's available. So, with everybody's day jobs and stuff. So, so did anything with you guys stand out as we were doing the pick, tasting through these 4 samples compared to some of the other whiskeys? I know, Will, you had a strong opinion on another one that kind of came in second place for everybody
Sample
else.
number 2.
Yeah. Do you want to talk
It
about
had
that?
a flavor I wasn't expecting out of an Ohio distillery.
Usually one's further south.
Yeah. And in particular, one specific one further south.
Mm-hmm. Man, this is good. So, the other thing we were able to try down there was, and I think, is it this weekend? I think it's this weekend.
It releases Saturday.
It releases Saturday. Yeah. They have their batched, uncut, unfiltered, limited release. That's that one right there. I think it was like 10 barrels.
Yeah, you said it was like 10 barrels.
And it's absolutely fantastic. And it is really kind of down a similar flavor profile as us. I tasted that and I got a lot of those like fresh peaches, candied peaches, good oak finish. I think ours finishes a lot longer.
Yeah.
It has a fantastic finish, but I think our pick finishes.
Yeah, ours is better.
It's a similar.
I would say ours is more nuanced, whereas the 10 barrel batch, the uncut, unfiltered, and I'm literally doing them side by side right now.
Yeah.
This one is a little more punchy, the uncut, unfiltered, but it definitely has a lot of the similar flavor notes. And I mean, if they thought that those 10 barrels with that flavor profile was good enough for them to do a limited release to everyone who wants their bourbon, I think we did a pretty good job.
Yeah, no, I think we did a fantastic job. And when you said ours is a more nuanced version of that, I think that's right. And I think it's this, don't get me wrong, this is very drinkable. But I think ours is even more drinkable. It's just got a great flavor.
Yes, nose is amazing too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the nose.
I mean, Jesus.
And that's the other thing to note is sometimes you'll get these where the nose is really good, but the palate maybe, or the finish maybe not quite what you want, or maybe the palate and the finish is great, but the nose isn't.
One of the samples, I don't remember which one it was. I definitely liked the nose more than I liked what it did on the palate. It smelled better than it tasted.
Right. With this one, the nostalgic pick, it is got everything. It's got the nose, it's got the palate, the finish that goes on for days. I'm very happy with it. Can't wait till it gets out to all the membership. So anything else that stood out to you guys about Watershed, about the pick, the other samples that we tasted through while we're waiting for some more questions to come through here?
Yeah, a couple tasting tips from Wes.
Oh,
yeah, those were good.
That's right.
Game changers.
Yeah, it was. So very interesting. And I don't claim to know everything. I like to learn some new stuff too. But Wes, as he's taking us through the tasting, had a couple little pro tasting tips.
He actually asked if we wanted tips, and we're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I mean, we're not
100%.
like, he's like, you guys are doing a good job, but do you want a couple hints?
So the one thing he talked about is like, so some people like to swirl, some people don't. The people that don't often will reference how it forces all the ethanol vapors up into your nose. Well, you're trying to agitate the whiskey, right? Because along with those ethanol vapors, you want those congeners and compounds to come up there with it so you can get a more sense of the smell.
Yeah.
The problem is, so ethanol vapors will dissipate fairly quickly, but sometimes you'll get that nose burn. So Wes had a little pro tip. If you want to get a spin, agitate those up, and then just give it a quick blow. And then, because that'll force kind of the wind up and out and force those ethanol vapors out. And he referenced, I don't know if it was I think it was a family member or
it
a
was
friend
a
or
good
a
friend
family
of his
member
that was on a tasting
on
panel.
the tasting panel of Buffalo Trace. Actually worked at the tasting panel of Buffalo Trace, which is not an easy job to get. But that was pretty cool. And then the other thing was if you kind of cup the glass and then kind of breathe in through your mouth and kind of get those same ethanol vapors and those same conjugars up, breathing in onto your tongue before you take a sip. And that'll kind of prime your tongue with some of those flavors before you actually take a sip. So again, another technique that they were showing at Buffalo Trace on their tasting panel that apparently they use. So it's a couple of pro tips there.
Pretty cool.
Did you guys?
The other thing I took away from our time there was, as we were in the warehouse before we did our tasting, just how relentless they seem to be with sourcing as much as possible from as close to where they are as possible.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was impressive to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get their glassware from a place in Ohio, I believe he was saying, and their corks come from that as well. Their barrels.
Yeah, Speyside
Yeah.
Cooperage in Ohio.
Right. And then it's all Ohio corn.
Yep, all Ohio corn. They source some rye and barley from Ohio. A lot of it is not, just because they just don't have the capacity and the contracts in Ohio for that. But I think all their labels come from Ohio.
Yeah,
and
labels, yep.
I mean, even the dark chocolate to cleanse your palate during the tasting was from Ohio.
Right.
Yes. Dark chocolate was from Ohio as well. So.
Yep.
There's
Awesome.
Landon.
Oh, there's
Hey,
Landon. Hey, Landon. Nice to see you here, buddy. All right. We even got a thumbs up. So, for those of you watching, thanks for coming along. Feel free to ask any questions about this pick, about the bourbon, about Watershed, the distillery experiences down in Columbus.
If you're in Columbus, make sure that you make a reservation at their restaurant. It was amazing food, but you need a reservation.
Yep. And then feel free to ask any questions about what we have coming up with the Whiskey Society. We'll hit some news and highlights. But the other thing is, if you're watching on Facebook, thanks. Give us a like or whatever's on the Facebook feed. If you're watching through YouTube, give us a like, thumbs up. Please subscribe. We are trying to produce some more content. We just finished up our Bottle and Bond bracket series. We got some more shorts coming out. But subscribing, giving us some likes on the videos really helps out the channel with YouTube. Kind of helps us get us out there and helps more people find out about us, because as large as the group is right now, there's still a lot of people around the Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan area that haven't heard us before, that are into bourbon or want to get into bourbon, and we want to help them along with that journey. So and then we also want to grow the channel. We want to grow the group and our Patreon to help out our charities that we're supporting. So we have Special Spaces. If you're unfamiliar with them, they provide bedroom makeovers for kids battling cancer who can't leave their houses. And then also we are supporting Children's Hunger Alliance, which helps provide meals for kids on weekends, on holidays, during the summer, who are on the school assistance program. And then when they're not in school, they don't have meals available. So two great local causes that we're supporting that all of this helps out with. So we've got a couple of more questions here. So Landon, is it a finished bourbon? So Landon, no, it is not. I know I struggled with the concept of the nostalgia pick and kind of the image I picked there, because people might think that it's finished because of the peaches and all the peach flavor I get, but it is not. So it's just a Speyside Cooperage barrel. The barrel head was a little warped too. For only 4 years old, barrel did some work on the whiskey. So, when you look at their mash bill, when you look at their yeast they're using, it is not a temperature controlled warehouse. And the structure of the building, it does get quite warm in there in the summer, according to Wes. So they are seeing some pretty large temperature swings, but it is not finished. And yeah, it's just a straight bourbon whiskey, Ohio straight bourbon whiskey.
With Ohio products in it.
Yeah, with
That's
Ohio
awesome.
products in it, and that tastes fantastic. So it looks like, I think Kevin is asking Who Day round 2. Yes. So if you are around for our virtual blind flight night Who Day, we were trying to expose people to distilleries they probably haven't heard of before, and we have a round 2 for Who Day. Let me look at our calendar here. We're probably pegging round 2 for May 13th. Saturday, May 13th is probably going to be Who Day round 2, which means Wednesday, May 10th is going to be our Whiskey Wednesday at bars that you will be able to pick those up at. And it'll probably be next week. I will get that posted available to sign up for those. That also brings me to that same week, Monday, May 8th, is our charity event in partnership with Bars Public House. It's our cocktail class. We did this as a Whiskey Society last year. It was fantastic. It'll be a little different format this year. They'll still be showing everybody how to make a couple of cocktails. You'll be able to get those cocktails, get recipes for them so you can make them home. We're going to have grazing stations that are going to be paired to those cocktails. We're going to have live music, and it's going to be a fun time. But you need to check out the Facebook page and the Discord for a link to get tickets to that. So we still need to sell quite a bit more tickets for that. That's Monday, May 8th. I think it's starting at 6 p.m. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think it's
something around 6 p.m. on Monday.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be a really good time, and that is an event we are specifically using to raise money for Special Spaces and Children's Hunger Alliance. So Who Day round 2 is going to be Saturday, May 13th. Pick your kits up on Wednesday the 10th, and please check it out the events and get your tickets for our charity event on Monday, May 8th. Yes, member discount codes do work for the charity event. So make sure you use those, sign up, get some tickets, bring a friend along.
It's a good way to get spouses, friends, people who don't normally drink whiskey, kind of getting exposed. Cocktails are honestly a gateway for a lot of people.
Yeah, typically someone wanting to get into whiskey, they're starting off with cocktails, and then they might drink it on the rocks with some simple syrup, then maybe go to neat after that. So, and if they don't, that's fine also.
Or you can be crazy and start with neat like I did.
Right.
Straight out the bottle.
Yeah, straight out the bottle.
No.
So, anything else you guys want to say about the pick, the experience?
Wes was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he did a great job.
Yes.
They're still growing, but they have the potential to be a big powerhouse, especially the way that they're taking the approach to their growth and their sourcing and really the passion for the product they're making.
Yeah.
Well, if it tastes this good at 4 years,
Oh yeah, I mean,
better, right?
Yeah.
I literally just got done having aged Taylor small batch at a restaurant down the street, and this is way better. Like, way better.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And I didn't realize it. Wes said they are the largest producing distillery in Ohio, which I thought Middle West was. So I don't know. Maybe Wes and Kyle have a little bit of debating to do over that one. I don't.
Yeah, but that could be because of all the other products they have too, though.
Yeah, it could be. But Middle West, they've got all their different type of vodkas, and they've got.
Oh, do they have vodkas? Oh, okay.
Yep.
Well, yeah, and they may not be. I mean, who knows which one would be just including bourbon? Like, I think our minds go to just bourbon, but like,
I don't know. They both produce vodka. They both produce gin.
I didn't know Middle West did that. Nice.
So interesting. Well, I like them both. So, Let's see. Any other questions coming up from anybody watching in the chat? We've got so this barrel pick, we're hoping 4 to 5 weeks should be our time frame to be able to release it. We are looking at probably mid-June for the Starlight. Starlight will release through Shared For. This one again will be released through Pawkins, and then we've still got. Let's see, what have we lined up here? We have New Riff going back down to New Riff again on in July on the 21st, I believe. That's going to be pretty cool. We're supposed to have Woodford Reserve still coming up. So we don't have a date yet. We are on the list for this summer. I'm going to follow back up with the distributor. We are still planning on that for the summer. And then going back to Middle West for another Dark Pumpernickel Rye, which I'm super excited about. And that'll be late September, early October timeframe for that. So so that'll be in collaboration with Stuff and Whiskey YouTube channel, Josh and Aaron over there. So that'll be really fun. Team up with them again. And then we've got, another summer's worth of virtual blind flight nights. We've got our charity event coming up. We're going to be planning another charity event probably also in July. And then we're going to have our annual Whiskey Society barbecue and bourbon dinner coming up maybe August for that one. We'll do the charity event in July and probably August for that. So a couple of fun events to look forward to. Any questions you guys have? We've got, I don't know about you guys, we're drinking out of our new Whiskey Society Kenzies. I don't know if it'll.
Mine was in the dishwasher, so I had to go with.
Yeah. Mine's also being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
the original also.
And we're using our new Whiskey Society leather coasters. So that reminds me, there's Tom's. So all the members, once you've been a member for 3 months, I've got a whole box full of member gift kits over there where we've got Kenzies and stickers and leather coasters and stuff that still need to be handed out. So I will have those at every Whiskey Wednesday we go to. Try and bring those to other events that we do. So if you are one of those people still waiting for your kit, make sure you contact me and schedule a time to pick it up, or meet us over at bars and we can get you your kit. We've got our merch store still up.
Yep.
You can link to that through our website at mommyvalleywhiskey.com. You can get like our sweaters that Will's wearing there, our t-shirts. We've got a bunch of different t-shirts. We've got a coffee mug. And then I'm going to be doing another order of Kenzies and Glencairns. Hopefully soon we'll have that on the site. Those will all be local pickup. All the merch from the site is drop shipped to you. So you can get that. And then there's member discounts for that. But what's that? I'm working on hats. I'm trying to get hats where we can get those drop shipped as well, so we don't have to keep an inventory of those. But still working on that. So, thank you for everyone who did either nominate themselves or someone else on the sheet for additional board members. We have been reviewing those. We've made a couple of contacts with those people, but we will be spending the next couple of weeks kind of talking with them, making sure people are comfortable with the position they might be volunteering for, and then present that to the membership for voting. So that'll be coming up too, which is pretty excited. Just shows more growth and expansion for the Whiskey Society, allows us to do more cool stuff for all of you, and allows us to continue to try and raise money for the charities we're supporting. So, all right. I don't have anything else in chat. Anything else from you guys?
No, it was a good recap. It was a great pick.
Yeah, it was.
Anytime I have the opportunity to go, I'm gonna try to make it happen.
That's perfect. And I encourage everybody watching, if you're not in at least the full member tier or higher, and you want to go on a pick, you want to see what it's all about, or maybe participate in some of these other events we're doing, or have first access to some of these barrel picks, I encourage you to go to visit Patreon and join us at those levels, or upgrade your level to get access to these. It's a really fun experience. We always have a great time.
And they're not intimidating. I think if that sometimes, if people think like, oh, I don't know how to drink bourbon, or, I'm better at just doing, like, I'm not going to be able to give good tasting notes. To be honest, mine aren't always great, but you really
what you like and what you don't.
Yeah,
right.
It's what you like and what you don't, and it's I wouldn't say any of them have been intimidating.
Yeah, and
like
all the picks, and
they
all
don't make
the
you
picks,
feel like you're no good. You know?
And all the picks will have a core of the board members on all the picks. So we're going to have consistency through all the picks.
Right.
But we also want to invite people in to get a broader kind of palette scope on what we're selecting as well. So I'm really happy with how this one turned out. I'm really excited for everybody to get a hold of it. Again, if you like those old fruit flavors with some spice and a sweet oak finish that lasts forever, this is going to be right up your alley. But I want to thank you guys for coming along on the pick with us, come along on the tasting tonight, talking about it. I want to thank everybody watching for supporting the channel, for supporting the Whiskey Society, and everything we're trying to do here. We're trying to create a space for everybody in the local area to feel comfortable learning about whiskey, enjoying whiskey, meeting good friends and new friends. And with that, we will see everybody next time. When will we get together again? Let's see.
I don't know.
We are going out of town. We are tomorrow. And that means, so next week we do have a Whiskey Wednesday scheduled. Chris, were you planning on being at Whiskey Wednesday next week?
Ooh, I'd have to check my schedule.
All right. So we are planning on still having the reservation there. Jess and I will not be able to be there, but I encourage everyone to still show up and have a good time together. But so next week, Whiskey Wednesday, and then so then the next time I will see people will be Monday the 8th for the charity event. So again, thanks everybody for your support. Hope you had a good time, and I will see you all on Monday the 8th for the charity event. Cheers.
Good night.
Cheers.